What's up, everyone? Welcome to our first episode of The 6 List. This week, we're going to take a look at the 6 biggest comic book movie bombs. Here's how we determined our list. We're taking into account only domestic box office totals, with numbers taken directly from boxofficemojo.com. We're also putting in the stipulation that the movie had to have a theatrical release of over 2,000 screens. So movies like Ghost World, Tank Girl, and Batman the Killing Joke don't qualify. We're also eliminating 1999's Virus, as the comic book the movie was based on was actually based on a movie script that Chuck Farr had written that at the time couldn't be filmed because the special effects needed to make the film didn't exist. So it's a movie based on a comic book that was written to initially be a movie. It's like comic book movie Inception. Alright, you ready? Let's go. We start in 2001 with Josie and the Pussycats, a movie based on characters from the pages of Archie Comics. The film stars Rachel Lee Cook as Josie, as she and the band try to stop Parker Posey from using their music to brainwash people to buy things. Funny enough, both Cook and Posey appeared in 1997's The House of Yes as the same character, with Cook playing the younger version of Posey. On a side note, that's not Rachel Lee Cook singing in the movie. All the vocals for Josie's songs were handled by Letters to Cleo singer Kay Hanlon. It's also important to note that of the 6 movies on this list, Josie and the Pussycats is the only one not rated R. Next up, it's Sin City, A Dame to Kill For. Let's be honest, having an R rating can have an effect on your box office take. Unless you're Deadpool.
Passion of the Christ, then me. At least domestically. We beat them overseas, where there's no such thing as religion.
But this stylish sequel was hit hard, making over $60 million less than the first Sin City that was released 9 years earlier. In fact, when it comes to adaptations of Dark Horse comic book properties, this is the second worst performing film. Only 1996's Barbed Wire did worse at the box office, but that movie showed on less than half the screens that A Dame to Kill For did. We move on to life in Mega City 1 with the 2012 reboot of Dredd. Let's be blunt. If you're comparing this movie to the 1995 Sylvester Stallone version, Judge Dredd, there's no contest which one is the better film. All you have to do is compare their takes on the law.
I am the law.
I am the law!
Seriously, Carl Urban for the win. And yet, Stallone's film took in over $20 million more at the box office. It maybe didn't help Dredd's case that, just 1 year earlier, The Raid Redemption came out and owned the cop must fight his way out of a building genre. That said, Dredd can take some solace in the fact that people clearly prefer the Carl Urban film. It holds a 78% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. The 1995 Judge Dredd? Only 17%. From apocalyptic future to the wild, wild west, we find 2010's Jonah Hex. Before Josh Brolin laid the snap down on the Marvel Universe, Josh Brolin took on the mantle of Western bounty hunter Jonah Hex. We can cut some slack to this movie, as it was released the same week as Toy Story 3. But it went downhill from there. Initially released on 2,825 screens, it currently stands as the 6th most dropped film in its first 3 weeks, being removed from over 92% of those screens. Next, it's 2013's Bullet to the Head, an adaptation of the French graphic novel Du Plomb dans la Tête. For star Sylvester Stallone, it wasn't just this movie that wasn't great. The whole year was a box office write-off. Stallone starred in 3 different releases that year, including Escape Plan and Grudge Match, with the 3 movies combining for a grand domestic box office total of $64.4 million. In fact, Bullet to the Head did so poorly, it stands as Stallone's 2nd worst wide release film at the box office, ahead of only Ratchet and Clank. And finally, we land at the bottom with Punisher Warzone. In fact, this movie stands as the lowest grossing Marvel Comics movie to date. And no, we're not counting Inhumans, as it was only in theaters for 1 week. However, instead of pointing out the negatives, let's look at 2 positive things here. 1. While the upcoming Captain Marvel is touting itself as the first female-directed Marvel Studios film, let's not take anything away from Warzone director Lexi Alexander. And secondly, and maybe even more importantly, this one didn't star Dolph Lundgren. Thanks for watching. Be sure to give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. See you next time on The 6th List.